What is up, and welcome back to 24 Minutes of Not A24, the podcast that takes a look at movies outside of the A24 library, literally 24 minutes at a time. I am Ethan Simi.
And I'm Ben Lawhorn. This week on the pod, we are searching for a soul as we talk about one of the all-time anime greats, Ghost in the Shell.
A cyborg police woman and her partner hunt a mysterious and powerful hacker called the Puppet Master. We are now on week 2 of AI movies. Last week, we kicked it off, this new little journey, little segment that we're on. Kicked it off with AI, Artificial Intelligence, by Steven Spielberg. Great movie to start this off with. That was my pick. I started us off. Ben, this is your pick this week. How you feeling, man?
Stoked. I was glad to finally check this one out. Like, it had been one that had been on the list for a long time. And of all places, Criterion Channel's like, hey, we're doing an AI series, and they had Ghost in the Shell on there. It's like,
yeah, baby.
That is like, that qualifies. I want to watch that. So, yeah, overall, I'll say, tip my hand a little bit. I was happy with it. I was glad to watch it.
Sick. Okay, cool. I'm excited to talk about it. Obviously, this is our Patreon episode, so we have just 24 minutes to talk about this, or else we do a punishment. We kind of collectively decided and didn't reach out to any listeners for their input that we did not receive a punishment last time, even though I'm pretty sure I went over by like a millisecond or two.
Yeah.
But you know what? We're just going to push on. We're just going to go forward and as AI would do, we're just going to keep moving forward and pressing for a better tomorrow. So that's where we're at. Hopefully we don't go over this week. This movie is directed by Mamoru Oshii and I believe came out in 1997.
95,
okay.
Yeah.
Pretty close. All that to say, this is not the 2017 live action quote unquote remake. I don't even know if it was like a remake.
Yeah.
Starring Scarlett Johansson. Now, have you seen that version, Ben? Because I need to know what we're dealing with here.
I have not yet, but I will say I'm curious to see it now.
I am
really
too.
am, right?
Me too. Have you seen the trailer for it?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Because I watched this movie and then I was like, okay, that was Ghost in the Shell. Got it. Understood. Mission accomplished. Now let me see what the trailer is for the one with Scarlett Johansson, because even though in theory you're like, oh, she's the lady, she's like the cyborg police woman.
Yeah.
It does not look remotely the same. Like, it does no mention of the Puppet Master.
No.
And I'm pretty sure it's got a very different storyline, even though I gotta be honest, maybe a hot take, it looks kind of good, even though I heard it's really bad.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think the trailer did it a lot of credit. I'm curious to see it. Even a bad movie can be fun to watch. Shout out Babylon. So I don't know. I'm excited to eventually check it out.
I am too. Maybe we come back and do the live action Ghost in the Shell one day. I gotta ask, are you an anime fan? Just like in general, because this is probably one of the most famous anime films there are or is.
I'm not opposed to anime. I just I missed it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it wasn't surrounded by my friend group or anything like that. I was just too old for Pokemon and all that kind of stuff.
Are you a Yu-Gi-Oh guy? You missed out on Yu-Gi-Oh too?
I missed it too. I think all that was the gateway into anime. So I'm very curious about it because, I hear stuff like Michael B. Jordan talk about one of the new Creed 3 took a lot of inspiration from that. So it's I respect it for sure. I just don't have a lot of experience with it. So if any of our listeners do and want to suggest some stuff, let me know, because I would be down to check it out.
I'm in the same boat. I just never folded it in to be part of my regular viewing habits. I'm not opposed to it at all. I do think it's very engaging and a really cool medium to tell stories. I did, however, do Yu-Gi-Oh in elementary school, and I distinctly remember I had a folder of all of my cards, and I don't know how old I was, but I was old enough to be dumb and trade all of my cards that I had for one single card, and it was called Toontown, and it was sick, and it was the hottest card you could have at the time, and that's the one card I had. And then I think I went out, and then I think I was I'm done with Yu-Gi-Oh. That's it. I'm going to retire. So I don't know. Maybe listeners can tell me if I retired on top or if I got cheated. I'm not
You're Costanza leaving the party. You're just hey, come out on top. I'm out. It's not
exactly. Costanza in the vein. Okay, let's talk about Ghost in the Shell. Ben, I'm curious. I want you to go first because this was your pick. So
Yeah.
you said you did have a good time. Elaborate a little bit. Tell me what you thought.
Yeah, I mean, just super glad to watch it. Obviously, like this is something that has set the tone for a lot of other movies as well. I think there is easily like you could see references that The Matrix made from it.
Yep.
You could see a lot of the influence that it's had in modern day cinema. And honestly, like this type of artwork just blows my mind, like the stuff that they're able to pull off, just keeping in mind that everything is like hand drawn, like to be clear, we watched Ghost in the Shell 2.0, which came out in 2008. So I can't compare it to the very first one, but apparently some scenes have been upgraded with like kind of a computer like generated, I don't know, I guess a little more CG artwork in it, animation, but I still really, really enjoyed it. It caught me off guard. Like I don't think I've ever seen this much nudity in a cartoon before. You know what I mean? Like,
I was not ready for this much nudity. I was like, damn, we're getting a lot of boobs.
Pretty early too. Like it's just like right away, but it's also interesting, like because they are like these AI, like robot things, like it's not sexualized at all. It's just like, it's just like a thing. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah, I guess that's true. Although there's like no reason for them to have nipples, but they do. So whatever. Yeah, I don't know. I was glad to have watched it. I'm excited because in a couple weeks we're going over Akira. So I think in a matter of a month, we're going over two of the greatest of all time. So I think it's going to be good. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah. I think I'm still really trying to form how I feel about this movie. I didn't have a bad time, but I don't think I had like a great time. I don't think I don't think I was like, wow, I'm so glad I watched that, or like, wow, I've really been missing out. I think the animation is really stellar and fun to watch, of course. And I think the big overarching themes of like finding this individuality and a soul, and like where does a human start and end, and where does an AI start and end, and these types of really lofty ideas, I think are important and conveyed pretty well. And the score is wonderful. The score is very good.
Dude.
My goodness, excellent stuff. And it's short, which is like, that's nice, if you can compact this storyline and do well with it, I think that works. But I did feel, and again, like I'm coming from a standpoint of like, I don't watch anime. So this might be like an anime thing that I'm just not accustomed to, right? It's like when you first watch movies from the 40s or 50s or 60s, you're like, that sounds different than movies that I watch now, or like that this pacing is different. Like they're just very noticeable and distinct things. So I think for me, I was a little jarred because it was like, oh wow, we're getting some like very like dialogue heavy monologues that are really outsetting exactly what we're supposed to be thinking. Especially, I'm thinking of the elevator scene, which I think is an important scene, but also like literally tells you exactly like, hey, we're trying to tell you over the course of this story that this AI is trying to figure out if she has a soul. And it's like, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
But I get what you're telling me. So I think that there's like this kind of battle between that, in trying to decipher like how I felt. I'm really interested to revisit this maybe in a year or two or like down the line. And see what I think of it then, because I think it'll grow on me. And again, I really do like the animation style. I think it looks really good. And there's some really cool elements, but I think it's just okay, honestly.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Yeah, I don't know that I say that, like I loved it or anything. I think it was more just I'm glad to have seen it, and I like respect it for what it is. The ending for me was kind of like I was getting a little lost.
It gets pretty convoluted, if I gotta be honest with you. It's hard to follow.
I was worried it was just me. I was like, am I not paying it? Like I don't have my phone. Like I'm paying attention, but I'm just like, I feel lost.
To that screen, and I was trying to figure out, and I was just like, I'm pretty sure this is just a kind of confusing story.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, some of the animation was awesome. I mean, we get a kill early on where all of a sudden we just see the person's spine, like his head is just like disintegrated and stuff. It's like there's some really cool, just like gory animation in here, which I thought was great. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm glad to have seen it. Yeah, I don't know that it like blew me away necessarily as far as like 5 stars or anything, but it did in terms of like the animation, everything that went into doing it. And man, I'll talk about at least one of those moments during my true cinema for sure.
Well, I'm gonna steal what you just said as my very first true cinema, and it is that opening scene, this kind of intro, which I thought was really confusing. And really the only thing I took away from this intro was like, that was a sick kill. That's pretty much all that I got out of it. I know it's like a kind of a political thriller in nature of like what is going on and seeking political asylum and things like that. I just felt like I got really thrown into this really heavy and lofty convoluted storyline that was taking place only for like this person to die. But specifically the point where they do die, and then she uses like, I can't remember exactly what it's called, but it's whatever her camouflage is that she basically turns into exactly whatever her background is, and that's kind of why she is naked all the time.
Yeah.
So she can activate this this really cool camouflage. So to see those really intense things in quick succession, a really cool kill, awesome animation from that, and then see this awesome technology that only exists in this world, I thought it was a really cool tone setter of like what is possible for this character.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, not to ride your coattails, but that's exactly mine as well. Because they right away, they let you know you're watching something special, something different.
Yep.
We kind of get the overhead shot that's similar to, you know, The Dark Knight. We see it in Mission Impossible 3, like standing on top of the skyscraper and just like looking down. And we get that cool shot. And then, yeah, like the disrobing, and all of a sudden, like you're just presented with the nudity. It's like, okay, wait, what's going on? Like, this is not what I was thinking would happen here. And then just like the jump off and then the kills and stuff, like, oh, like there's so much is happening here. And anything is possible. It seems like I have to accept whatever they're going to present to me. But yeah, the kills are cool as she continues to like fall down, like with kind of the camouflage stuff. I think that's awesome. It was a really good tone setter. And I think it's probably not gonna be too big of a surprise that like most of my true cinemas are in the beginning here, because at the end, like you said, it felt very kind of convoluted. It was just a lot that was going on. But yeah, that's my first one, is just that opening scene.
Yeah. I love that. I think it is definitely an opening scene worth calling out twice. I think it totally deserves that recognition. Second one for me is something a little bit different. It is kind of the montage of getting a search party out and kind of shutting down the city. And we're kind of nearing the end of the movie. I think we have like maybe 25 or 20 minutes left. And we get this really good just visual and idea of like what is taking place all over the city, and how we are going to kind of stop what is going on. And we get a great score, and we see different, you know, teams of whatever, and of people and actions and like really great cityscapes. And I thought that was a really good way to maybe temper the pace a little bit before we do get a very elevated like final 10 minutes and final 15 minutes, and give us a different way to look at the city and like the actions that are happening. I like that a lot, and it was that part was really fun to watch.
I mean, it's crazy. Like this, I have a montage as well, but it's one towards the beginning of the movie, just because I was blown away by the artwork, you know, I watched a behind the scenes on Akira, and they were kind of explaining, you know, like with the headlights and the building lights and stuff, it's like there's no pen to do that with. Like you have to do it with like the lighter paper, and then like you just color it all black, you know, you have to do all that. And so there's like certain scenes in here where someone walks in front of these car lights, and it's like, oh man, like the time and skill it took to do that. Like it wasn't just like animated lights, like it's hand drawn headlights that have to look super bright and all that kind of stuff. Like I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And it was, like you said, it kind of like, it took us out of the action for a little while. And it's like a substantial montage. It's like a couple minutes long, I think. Like, and we're going throughout the city. We're just seeing what it's like. It's nighttime. It's beautiful. And I just like that. Like there are certain, like this is like such a weird parallel to make, you know, but it's kind of like the ending of Before Sunrise, where it's just like, let's just see everything. Like we're going to montage through the city, and we're just going to see how the city exists on its own. We're not going to hang out with any characters. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to show you the city life as it is. Obviously Before Sunrise is more like starting the day kind of thing, and this is much more in the evening, but it just kind of gave me that vibe of like, let's reset for a sec. we're going to show you the city. We're going to like take some time here. And for me, just like it totally worked. And just again, to go into the fact of like, they probably had like tens of artists, you know, like working on these scenes that don't further the story at all. It's just for us to have some time here. And I loved it. I thought it was beautiful.
I think that is something, at least that I am like continually drawn back to for modern movies, for modern cinema, is like their inability to take time with things that maybe don't necessarily progress the immediate storyline forward. Cannot be undervalued. I think cannot be understated how important that is. And that, like, you saying that as one of 3 true cinema moments, like, directly calls that out. So, I love that. And I, you know, nothing but respect for, like, the artists and people that pull this off and decide to take time to do that. Does not go unnoticed. I think it's great. My final true cinema moment is kind of, I feel like it's probably a fan favorite, because I think it's kind of when things, start to peak a little bit. It's right before we understand the puppet master and really hear the puppet master speak and get to like the final idea of what is happening. But so our main woman, right, the Ghost in the Shell, like main character, Agent Kusanagi, she has found the puppet master basically body, right?
Yeah.
And it is in this car that is protected by an invisible tank, which is fucking awesome, by the way. So crazy. And starts fucking firing all these bullets at it and going crazy and doing all this kind of stuff, distracting it. Goes nude, classic, of course, and then jumps on top of the tank. That was all very cool. But when she jumps on top of the tank and tries to rip the tank open, only to bust through her artificial body and literally rip through her wires and her skeleton and the things that make her a physical being, because she wants nothing more, or she basically subscribes to the idea that nothing is more important than her soul and what drives her, to the point where she can shed her physical body. Phenomenal stuff. I think I think both storyline wise, the theme wise, hits all the right notes and the right ideas for what we've been trying to get to, and visually is sick. Like, if I was gonna like whip that up on YouTube and be like, yo, you want to see like 2 minutes of fucking awesome anime? That's what you show. And I think it's really cool. And you know, the fact that it takes place with AI and rips the body is super sick.
Yeah. Oh, that seems like amazing. And I'm happy to the first time we don't have a duplicate here. I have a different scene here, but I do love that scene. It's so good. And just to shout out that ending, you know, when her partner's there, the dude's glasses, man, those are just elite like glasses. Kind of iconic, right? It's just amazing. They're just like resting in like on his eyes. Like, oh, it's so good.
Do you think they're actually, so he's an AI as well, or like he's made up of cyborg parts? Do you think those are actually his glasses? Or I thought like, oh, maybe those are his eyeballs. Like maybe that's just the way he's made.
I mean, he'd have no reason for glasses, you know, like they would give him perfect AI. Vision, right? Yeah. So like, I guess that's just like the look they gave him. So I dig it.
How sick is that though? Like, hey, let's create an AI and we're just going to give him these awesome looking eyeballs / glasses that no one could ever pull off in real life, but he's a cyborg, so he can make it work.
That's super cool.
Incredible level of power.
And that is one of the moments of trivia here that also kind of reflects back to AI. The movie is like, no blinking, you know, like we don't see any of that throughout, which is kind of cool. So I do like this like theme continuing on throughout this our round here. But my final one is, I think it's also kind of a fan favorite, but it's that fight in the water that we get early on, which I think is a big part of the trailer for the live action one. I think we see a lot of that in there. But just to see how they executed that, you know, the bullets, like to make the decision to put the fight in water, it's just like, we're going to make our job more difficult now, you know? But they pulled it off so well. It's such a well choreographed fight. So cool just to see her like just kick absolute ass, you know, also while like camouflaged and hidden. It's just like, it's a sick scene. And as far as like the visuals, it's probably the one that will stick with me the most. So it's one that I just like, I had to shout it out. I really liked that scene quite a bit.
Yeah, that's a good one. I do like that scene a lot, and that's really kind of our first like big, besides the very intro, which like you can kind of segment a little bit. That's our big like action scene that we kind of like start to build to, which is really fun. Would this movie fit in the A24 catalog? I've been saying no a lot, obviously, because we've been covering some big IPs and things that, you know, probably. And
you're a hater. It's also that.
Huge just hater. And I just hate to see things included. I'm going to say yes. I feel like it could. I feel like even modern day, if you make something like this now, I would not be surprised to see like an A24 logo and be like, oh, sick. Like 85-minute anime about trying to find a soul. That fucking checks out.
Yeah, looking according to the budget back then, and you know, converting it, it's just like about just under $2.3 million for this movie, which is like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. No, I'm with you, and I got thinking about this question today, and I know we have Marcel, but it's like, do we have like a true animated movie in the A24? Not that we've seen yet, right?
I don't think so, man.
So yeah. Be curious, but I do think this would fit. I agree with you. I think this could, like, the storyline, all that kind of stuff would easily make it fit in here.
Is there, and maybe I'm just blanking, is there an A24 animated movie? Just a sole animation?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know
if
Marcel's
there's
like,
as close as we get.
Yeah, that's it. Like, I don't know that we have like a true animated A24 movie from, animated
very
A24
interesting
movie. Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Okay. Well, I think we can say we both fairly enjoyed it. I feel like you probably enjoyed it a little bit more than I did. But definitely important in the stream of consciousness of, you know, the AI figure in film. Next week on the Patreon, we are continuing with artificial intelligence, more AI stuff. We're talking about Upgrade. Ben, another pick for you.
Fuck yeah.
I've heard a lot about this movie. I have not seen it. Give the listeners a preview. I'm hyped.
If you saw the movie Venom and you wanted it to be really good, watch Upgrade. Watch Upgrade. Upgrade is fucking awesome. I love this movie so much. I'm so excited to watch it.
You said it's about a guy that's basically like controlled by an AI?
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. Okay. So it's like, you know, like the symbiote in Venom, but it's like, it's an AI thing. It's like, it's so well done. Logan Marshall Green, who's also like knockoff Tom Hardy. So it's kind of cool that like they're both in both these movies, but I think it's a great movie. It was one that I went into blind.
Flat.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Great. I went into it blind the first time I saw it. I was like, I have no idea what this is, but I got to see it. And I had a great time. I'm very curious to hear your review of it next week.
Wow. I'm very excited. I'm just kind of like going through here and seeing some things about the movie, and the director, Leah Whannell, also directed The Invisible Man from 2020, which I heard was pretty good, and Insidious Chapter 3, and played someone in the Saw movie, which is crazy. So I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like we're in store for a treat. I'm excited. It'll be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let us know what you guys thought about Ghost in the Shell. If you watched it, if you've seen it before. Obviously, it was the first watch for both of us, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. We're on Twitter, Instagram at 24 minutes of A24. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch us talk about these movies. Once again, as always, we really appreciate your support on the Patreon. It means everything to us. So fun to have this like community and to talk with you guys and just interact. It's the best. So thank you so much for your support.
Yeah. And you can now also find our Patreon episodes on Spotify. So you don't have to go to Patreon anymore explicitly. You can just go to Spotify and connect that to your Patreon account. And there you go. Bing, bang, boom.
Make it happen. I'm Ben Lawhorn.
And I'm Ethan Simi. There's no ghost in this shell.